So you've decided that 2023 is going to be your year. This is finally the year that you're going to start creating content and sharing it with the world. It doesn't matter if you're blogging, vlogging, TikToking, planking, whatever you want to create or accomplish this year. I'm going to share 5 tips that I think will help you set better goals and actually achieve them in 2023. Now I am making this with content creators in mind, but even if you're trying to get in shape, grow your sticker shop on Etsy, or like get a girlfriend or something, I think you'll still probably be able to get something out of this video. Step number 1 is going to be to have specific and measurable goals. I really like to distill it down into 2 main types of goals, and that is your big goals. These are like your end game bucket list goals. And then I also think of smaller digestible goals. You could think of these as like milestones on the way to your big goal, or as I like to call them, my eat an elephant goals. I think that typically people tend to lean more towards one side or the other as far as big goals or small goals. For example, last year my wife Becca and I started running together. Becca is a big goal person. She is a huge goal person. So after we started getting into running, her goal became, I'm gonna run the New York City Marathon in 2024. All right. Okay. I typically lean more towards the small milestone type of goals. So my primary goal whenever we started running was to run a mile without stopping. I definitely think there's value in having both, and I think that you need both, because the big like bucket list goals give you something to work towards in the long term, but the milestone goals I think keep you motivated along the way as you can take the small wins as you go. Now both of those goals that I mentioned, Becca running the New York City Marathon in 2024, me running a mile without stopping, those are both specific and measurable. An alternative example that's still related to running that is not specific and is not measurable is I want to run more. So when we pivot to your content creation goals, some of those big like in-game bucket list goals might be to go full-time making content. You might want to be able to replace your salary and then some making YouTube videos full-time or making TikToks or XYZ. Your big goal might be to leverage your influence on these social platforms to be able to grow your business outside of content creation. If your end game goal is to go full-time, some of the milestone goals might be certain income marks. I want to be able to make $100 a month off of YouTube ad revenue. So where am I at right now? What's it going to take for me to get there? You know, that's really not going to replace anybody's full-time job, but those are the sort of small wins that you can achieve and sort of check off as you go along towards that big goal. I think that whenever you're setting goals, one thing that you want to be careful of is goals that can either have or be impacted by outside influence. And I'm not talking about just like your toxic friends. I'm talking about like weather, environment, or even your body. These are what I call variable goals, where really it's great to hit them, but it's totally, honestly, not fully in your control. Now, I could say that I want to hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube in 2023, or I want to run a sub 4-hour marathon in 2024, and those are great goals to have, but I think it's important to think about what goals that you can set to still be able to achieve those, but you do have control over. Instead of saying, you know, my goal is 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, make your goal to upload 40 times this year, or upload 1 video or 2 videos every week, along with, you know, 3 or 4 shorts a week. That's the goal setting strategy that will allow you to lock in that 100,000 subscribers and more. But it's important, at least in the meantime, to be thinking about the things that you can control to be able to achieve that. Okay, so my second tip for achieving your goals in 2023 is going to be to have a plan of action with a timeline. For a lot of you creating content, this really just means having a content calendar and sticking to it. It can be as simple or as complex as you like. For me, I like to have it as simple as possible, so that way if I do sort of fall off the train a little bit and get off my rhythm, then it's a lot easier to adapt, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So this is basically just what my content calendar looks like. It's pretty simple. You can just sort of drag everything around. For me, it really helps to have that divided into those at least just monthly. Obviously, if you're wanting to lose weight or run more, run better, faster, your content calendar for this example would look like a training plan or like some sort of workout regimen. But with the plan of action, I think it's really important to have something that's tangible, that's written down with your sort of time frame on when you hope to achieve those goals. And then it's also great with those little milestones. If you achieve them a little bit earlier, awesome. Just go ahead and cross that off. And if you achieve them a little bit later, that's not a big deal because you're still making progress along the way. And then you can adapt to the future goals and be able to make those a little bit more realistic now that you have some data to work with. My third tip honestly might be the most important one, and that's to find some sort of accountability. So if you are trying to create more content, whether that's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, obviously find another either creator or just start telling people. For the longest time, I kept my YouTube channel sort of under wraps. I wanted to grow it organically, and I didn't really tell anybody that I was doing it other than like close friends and my wife, but that also really meant that nobody was waiting on me to upload. And so I didn't feel any sort of pressure to actually make it happen. So if things came up, next thing you know, you think it's not really a big deal, you miss 4 months, and then, you know, that's just putting you 4 months behind on your big goals that you really want to achieve. Just having someone, even if it's a significant other, a close friend, or a whole fan base, to keep you accountable for actually doing the things that you want to do, I think is a huge game changer, and that's probably one of the most important things in actually being able to achieve your goals. My fourth tip is to review your progress regularly. That's going to look different depending on what your goals are, whether that's weekly, monthly, daily, even in some cases. But I think that it's really important to have a realistic sense of where you're at on this path to achieving those goals. I think this also sort of helps you keep yourself accountable and being consistent and continuing to move forward there. But this also helps you to be able to learn from what you're doing, where you're at, and to be able to adapt and keep going. If you're constantly checking your status, in the case for my YouTube channel, you know, like let's say I wanted to upload 40 long form videos this year in 2023. If I'm in March and I go and I see that I've only uploaded like 3, I know that I've got a long ways to go, but it also, that can help me adapt to still be able to meet those goals. They're not completely washed out, even though it's March and I still have like 30 something videos to go. I know that I need to now look at how many months, how many days I have left, and be able to break that down so that I can still move forward with that. And that might even take circling back to your original goals, where you have that timeline and your sort of game plan, and adjusting that to then be able to set yourself up for success moving forward the rest of the way. My last tip is celebrate the wins. If you want to start a YouTube channel this year, write down your first milestone goal, your small goal. Make that uploading your first video. And once you hit upload on that first video, throw a freaking party, because that's how you get momentum. When you upload that first video, that first TikTok or that first Instagram reel, celebrate that. Whenever you hit number 10, celebrate that. Whenever you've been doing it consistently, weekly for like a year, and you've got 50 videos up, you should celebrate those wins along the way. That'll help you keep motivated. That'll help you build that community around you that's celebrating with you. Those accountability partners that I mentioned, make sure that they're all in as well, and everybody's celebrating this together, and then help you move forward towards your goals. One thing you have to realize is even whenever you reach those end game or those big goals, that's not the end. What once felt like the end game for you and once was the big thing, that's now reality. Like, you've achieved that. My wife wants to run the New York City Marathon in 2024. When she's able to achieve that, she's not gonna just stop running. It's what's next? Like, what's the next thing that I can do? Is it going to be an ultra marathon? Is it going to be the Boston Marathon? Is it going to change to I'm going to run 2 or 3 marathons in the following year? But you really want to be able to adapt, because what was once your big end game goal is now reality, and you've achieved that. And that's where you want to be. And then the cycle starts over again. Now, financial goals are a huge deal for a lot of people. So if you want to see a video about how much I made this past year off of freelance, YouTube, and things like that, go ahead and click the link here, and I'll see you there.